Life is filled with challenges. They come in all shapes and sizes. Sometimes they feel like mountains, other times like valleys. But the one thing they all have in common is that they test us. They test our strength, our patience, our resolve, and our ability to keep moving forward, even when it seems like the world is pushing us back. But here's the truth. Every challenge you face is not a roadblock, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to become stronger. It's easy to view challenges as things that stand in our way, but if you shift your perspective, you can see them for what they truly are: stepping stones to your success. Challenges don't define your limitations, they reveal your potential. Challenges are often seen as inconveniences or barriers that stand in our way. But what if we changed our perspective? What if we saw every obstacle, every hardship, every setback as a chance to grow, to learn, and to uncover parts of ourselves we didn't know existed? The truth is, each challenge you face offers you an invaluable opportunity to test your limits, expand your abilities, and grow into a stronger, wiser person. When faced with difficulty, the natural impulse might be to retreat, to shy away from the discomfort. But when you approach challenges with the mindset that they are opportunities for growth, you open yourself up to new possibilities. Challenges push you to think differently, to approach problems from new angles, and to be creative in finding solutions. They force you out of your comfort zone, and it's only by stepping out of that zone that you can discover the depth of your potential. The struggle itself can be a teacher. Every time you face a challenge, you gain experience and insight that you would not have otherwise obtained. Whether you succeed or fail, the lessons learned in those moments are invaluable. You learn what works and what doesn't, what drives you forward and what holds you back. These lessons shape you, molding you into someone who can handle even greater challenges in the future. But challenges can also reveal hidden strengths within you. Often, we don't know what we are truly capable of until we're pushed to our limits. It's in the face of adversity that you discover your resilience, your problem-solving abilities, and your courage. You may surprise yourself with your capacity to endure, adapt, and rise above circumstances. Each time you overcome an obstacle, you expand your understanding of what you're capable of, and you build confidence that will carry you through future challenges. Instead of seeing challenges as things to avoid, embrace them. Recognize them as opportunities for personal growth and self-discovery. Embrace the discomfort, because it's often in the most difficult moments that you learn the most about yourself. It's through overcoming challenges that you realize how much strength and potential you have waiting inside of you, just waiting for the right moment to emerge. Shifting your perspective is a powerful tool when facing challenges. It's easy to look at an obstacle and see only the difficulty, but what if you chose to see it differently? Instead of focusing on the problem, focus on the possibility. Instead of feeling defeated by the struggle, ask yourself what you can learn from it. This shift doesn't mean ignoring the reality of the challenge, but rather changing how you engage with it. Every challenge has a lesson. The moment you change your mindset from seeing obstacles as roadblocks to viewing them as opportunities, your approach to life changes. The challenge becomes a puzzle to solve, a chance to refine your skills, a moment to prove to yourself what you're capable of. Instead of resisting what's in front of you, embrace it as part of your growth. This shift in perspective gives you control over the situation. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstances and instead step into the role of an active participant in your own life. Challenges no longer have the power to define your outcome. They become stepping stones on your path. You're no longer trying to avoid difficulties. You're facing them head-on with the belief that each one will make you stronger, wiser, and more equipped for the next. By shifting your perspective, you free yourself from the paralysis that often accompanies difficult situations. You no longer see yourself as helpless, but empowered. You recognize that challenges are part of the process, and with the right mindset, you can turn them into catalysts for growth. This is the power of perspective. It transforms challenges from burdens into opportunities, making the impossible seem possible, and turning setbacks into stepping stones. Resilience is what separates those who simply endure challenges from those who emerge stronger because of them. It's easy to think that resilience is something you either have or don't have, but the truth is, it's a muscle that can be developed. Resilience is not about avoiding pain or difficulty. It's about how you respond to them. It's about your ability to adapt, to bounce back, and to keep moving forward, no matter what life throws at you. When setbacks happen, it's tempting to give up, to throw in the towel and walk away. But resilience is about looking at the setback and saying, I'm not done yet. It's about finding strength in your struggle and refusing to let temporary challenges define your future. The moments when you feel like you can't go on are often the moments where your greatest growth happens. Resilience teaches you that no matter how hard things get, there is always a way to rise again. It's important to recognize that resilience doesn't mean never feeling discouraged or defeated. It's not about avoiding the tough emotions. It's about learning how to move through them, to acknowledge them, and then continue on. Resilience allows you to feel the pain of a setback without letting it consume you. It gives you the strength to process the emotions and find the courage to keep going, even when the path forward seems unclear. Resilience also comes from having a deep sense of purpose. When you have a clear vision of where you want to go, challenges become part of the journey rather than roadblocks. Purpose gives you the fuel to push through the toughest moments. It gives you something to hold on to when everything else feels uncertain. When you are committed to a bigger goal, the challenges along the way are no longer obstacles. They're simply parts of the process that will ultimately shape you into the person who can achieve that goal. Building resilience takes time and practice. It's not about avoiding failure, but about learning how to get back up when you fall. It's about refusing to let anything break your spirit or deter you from your path. Resilience is the determination to keep going, to continue evolving, and to stay committed to the person you are becoming. Focusing on what you can control is one of the most empowering strategies when facing challenges. It's natural to feel overwhelmed when life seems unpredictable or when problems arise that feel too big to handle. The tendency is to worry about everything that is out of your hands, the people, the circumstances, the timing. But in those moments, the most powerful thing you can do is to focus on what's within your control. You can't always change the situation you're in, but you can change how you respond to it. The way you manage your emotions, the decisions you make, and the actions you take are all within your control. By directing your energy toward those areas, you regain your sense of agency, your power to shape your own path. Instead of feeling defeated by external circumstances, ask yourself, what can I do right now to improve the situation? What's within my control in this moment? This mindset shift helps you break down challenges into smaller, more manageable parts. It's no longer about trying to control the entire situation, but about taking one step at a time, focusing on what you can influence. Focusing on what you can control also helps to manage anxiety and stress. When you obsess over things outside your control, you feel helpless. But when you refocus your attention on your actions and mindset, you feel empowered. It allows you to let go of the things that don't serve you and invest your energy into solutions that will move you forward. In moments of challenge, remind yourself that the only person you can control is yourself. Your mindset, your effort, and your response to adversity are entirely up to you. When you focus on these aspects, you take back the power that challenges may try to steal from you. You find stability in your own actions and confidence in your ability to navigate whatever comes your way. By focusing on what you can control, you reclaim your sense of direction and purpose. You stop being a passive participant in your own life and become an active creator of your future. Each choice you make, each moment you choose to move forward, builds momentum toward overcoming the challenges you face. The power to change your situation lies in your hands. Focus on what you can control and watch your life transform. Letting go of control is one of the hardest, yet most essential aspects of trusting in God. As humans, we crave certainty. We want to plan every step, predict every outcome, and hold tightly to the reins of our lives. But faith requires a different posture. It asks us to loosen our grip, to surrender the need to control everything, and to trust that God's plan is not only better, but also wiser than anything we could ever create for ourselves. Control gives us the illusion of safety, but the truth is, there's so much in life that's beyond our ability to manage. We can't control the timing of opportunities, the actions of others, or the unexpected events that change the course of our lives. When we hold too tightly to our plans and expectations, we limit our ability to see the bigger picture that God is weaving. Letting go is not about giving up, it's about giving in. Choosing to place our trust in the one who sees the end from the beginning. Surrender doesn't mean passivity. It means actively choosing to trust even when the road ahead is unclear. It's a daily decision to say, God, I don't have all the answers, but I believe you do. I may not understand why this is happening, but I trust that you're leading me somewhere good. It's about releasing the burden of needing to figure everything out and resting in the peace that comes from knowing that God is in control. When we let go, we create space for God to move in ways that we couldn't have imagined. Surrender allows us to experience His guidance, His provision, and His timing in ways that far exceed our own plans. It's in letting go that we discover the freedom, peace, and clarity that only come from trusting Him completely. God's timing, not ours, is one of the most challenging truths to embrace, yet it is at the core of trusting Him. As humans, we are wired for immediacy. We want things to happen on our schedule, and when they don't, it's easy to feel frustrated, disappointed, or even abandoned. But God doesn't work on our timeline. He works on His, and His timing is always perfect, even when it doesn't align with our plans. Why do our plans have friction, even when it doesn't align with our plans? There's a reason for every delay, every closed door, and every season of waiting. Sometimes God's timing feels slow because He's preparing us for what's ahead. Other times, it's because He's protecting us from something we can't see. Trusting His timing means believing that every pause, every detour, and even every unanswered prayer serves a greater purpose. It's about recognizing that the wait isn't wasted. It's where God is often doing His most important work in us. In the waiting, our faith is stretched and strengthened. We learn patience, perseverance, and humility. We are reminded that we are not in control, but that's okay because the one who is in control knows exactly what we need and when we need it. Trusting God's timing requires us to surrender the urgency of our plans and embrace the unfolding of His. It's not easy to wait, especially when we don't see the full picture. But faith isn't about having all the answers, it's about trusting the one who does. When we let go of the need to rush or force things, we create room for God to work in ways that are far beyond anything we could imagine. His timing isn't just about delivering what we've prayed for, it's about shaping us into the people He created us to be. Trusting in God offers hope even in the midst of uncertainty. Life is full of moments that leave us feeling lost, overwhelmed, and unsure of what lies ahead. In those times, it's easy to be consumed by doubt and fear. But trusting in God means choosing to believe that no matter how unclear the path may seem, there is always a purpose and a plan. Hope through uncertainty isn't about ignoring reality or pretending challenges don't exist. It's about anchoring ourselves to the truth that God is bigger than any situation we face. It's the quiet confidence that, even in the darkest moments, He is working behind the scenes, orchestrating things for our good and His glory. Uncertainty can feel like a heavy fog, making it hard to see the next step. But trust allows us to take that step anyway, knowing that God's light will guide us one step at a time. It's a reminder that we don't have to figure everything out or have all the answers. We only need to trust the one who does. In trusting God, we find a hope that goes beyond our circumstances, a hope that reassures us when nothing else makes sense. It's the kind of hope that allows us to hold on even when everything in us wants to let go. And as we trust, we begin to see that uncertainty isn't something to fear. It's an opportunity to lean deeper into God's promises and discover the peace that comes from knowing we are never alone. The evidence of God's faithfulness becomes clearer when we look back on the moments in our lives where we thought we wouldn't make it, but we did. We've all had those times when the weight of the world felt too much to bear, when hope seemed out of reach, and we were certain that we had reached the end of our strength, yet somehow we made it through. We stood up again, and we kept going. These moments aren't coincidences or just happenstance. They are reminders of God's constant presence and unwavering faithfulness. When we reflect on the times He provided for us when we didn't know how we'd make it, or when He gave us strength when we thought we had none left, we see evidence of His care, His love, and His promises in action. Faith is not just about looking ahead with hope, it's about looking back with gratitude. It's remembering how God has come through for us in the past, how He led us through the darkest valleys, how He provided at just the right moment, and how He gave us peace when the world was chaotic. Reflecting on these moments strengthens our faith because it reminds us that He hasn't failed us yet. Every time God has been faithful, we can look at it as evidence that He will continue to be. Those past victories serve as the foundation for our trust in Him today. When we face new challenges, we can look back and say, if God brought me through that, I know He will bring me through this. And that confidence, built on the evidence of His faithfulness, becomes the fuel for the faith we need to face the future with hope and trust. Faith in action requires more than just believing in God's promises. It requires stepping forward in trust, even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. Faith isn't passive. It's not about waiting for everything to align perfectly before we take action. It's about moving forward with courage, knowing that God is with us every step of the way, even when we can't see the full picture. Taking action in faith often means doing what seems impossible or illogical from a human perspective. It's about walking forward with the confidence that God will provide, even when the way ahead is unclear. When we trust in God, we understand that we don't have to know all the details or have everything figured out. We just need to take the next step, knowing that He is guiding us. Faith in action is a declaration of trust. It says, I believe God will come through, so I will act as if He already has. It's about making decisions, taking risks, and moving forward with the belief that God will meet us where we are, even when we feel uncertain or afraid. It's this boldness in action that allows us to experience the fullness of God's power and provision. God doesn't call us to sit back and wait for His promises to come to us. He calls us to step out in faith, to move, to act, and to trust that He will be with us. Faith in action requires courage, persistence, and the willingness to take the first step, even when the journey ahead seems daunting. It's in that step, and everyone after it, that we experience the true strength and power of God's faithfulness. In the journey of faith, trust in God is not just a belief, it's a way of living. It's about choosing to believe that even when life feels uncertain, there is a greater plan unfolding. It's about knowing that trials aren't there to break us, but to build us into the people God has called us to be. It's about releasing our need to control, trusting in His perfect timing, and finding hope even in the most challenging moments. When we look back on our lives, we'll see the evidence of His faithfulness, how He carried us through every storm, provided when we thought there was no way, and guided us when we couldn't see the road ahead. And with that understanding, we are called to take action, to move forward with courage, and to trust that He will be with us every step of the way. Faith in God isn't passive, it's active, it's bold, and it's transformative. And when we live in that trust, we discover a peace and strength that only come from knowing we are held by something greater than ourselves. Through every step, every challenge, and every triumph, we can rest in the assurance that God is faithful, His plan is good, and His love will never fail us.